For 10 years, the sky was permanently on fire. Earthquakes tore continents apart, and the oceans boiled. This wasn't the end of the world. It was the beginning of the gods, was what it felt like. But before any of that, there was nothing. Not silence, not emptiness, nothing. A void so complete that even darkness hadn't been invented yet. No space, no time, no sound. Just an absence so total it had weight. This is chaos. And then something moved. Gaia comes first. The Earth, not as a planet, but as a living, breathing consciousness the size of everything. She doesn't think. She doesn't speak. She simply is, and in being, she creates. Uranus rises next. The sky. He stretches himself over Gaia like a dome with no edges, and between the two of them, the first real power in the universe begins to take shape. They have children, 12 titans, 6 male, 6 female, each one a force of nature given a body. Oceanus, who becomes the sea. Hyperion, who carries light across the sky. Mnemosyne, who holds the memory of every moment that has ever existed. And Cronis, the youngest, the most dangerous, the one who watches everything with eyes that are always calculating. But the Titans aren't the only things born from this union. 3 Cyclopes emerge, giants, with a single eye burning in the center of their skulls. Not the stupid brutes of later stories. These are the greatest craftsmen the universe will ever produce. Minds so precise they can forge anything they can imagine. And then the Hecatoncheires, 3 beings, 100 arms each, 50 heads. Strength so incomprehensible that when they shift their weight, mountain ranges collapse. Uranus looks at them and feels something gods were never supposed to feel. Fear. He grabs them, all 6, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, and forces them back inside Gaia, buries them alive in the deepest parts of the earth. Locks them there, because if they ever got out, he knew they could destroy him. Gaia feels every single one of them disappear, feels their terror like it's her own. And in that moment, something cold and ancient hardens inside her. She begins to plan. Uranus had absolute power. He controlled the sky, the earth, the sea. He controlled his children. He controlled everything. But absolute power has one weakness. It makes you blind to the people closest to you. And Uranus was about to look away. At exactly the wrong moment, Gaia moves in secret. Deep in the earth, where Uranus cannot see, she forges a weapon, a sickle made of adamant, the hardest substance in existence, harder than any metal, harder than bone, harder than the will of a god. She works on it alone, in darkness, for longer than human history has existed. When it's done, she calls her Titan children together. She shows them the sickle. She tells them what Uranus has done. The children buried alive, the power hoarded, the fear disguised as order. And then she asks a single question. Who will do what needs to be done? They look at the sickle. They think about what it means to attack a being who is the sky, infinite, eternal, everywhere at once. One by one, they step back. Except Cronus, he steps forward and takes the sickle from his mother's hands. No hesitation, no visible fear. Just the cold calculation of someone who has been waiting for exactly this moment. That night, Uranus descends to lie with Gaia. Cronus is waiting. The sickle comes down. What Cronus does to his father is brutal enough that the universe itself reacts. Uranus's blood falls into the sea, and from that collision of ichor and salt water, Aphrodite rises, the goddess of love and beauty, born not from tenderness but from an act of violence so severe it split the sky from the earth permanently. Uranus screams, he tears himself away, wounded beyond anything that had ever been wounded before. The sky pulls back from the earth and stays back. That gap between sky and earth that you see every time you look up, that's what Cronus created that night. But before Uranus disappears, he turns back and he curses his son. Your own children will destroy you, the same way you destroyed me. Cronus hears it and smiles. He takes control of the cosmos. The Golden Age begins, a period so peaceful, so abundant, that the humans living in it don't know what suffering is. No war, no hunger, no death. The earth produces food without being planted. The seasons don't change. Everything is perfect. And Cronus cannot enjoy a single moment of it. The curse lives in his head like a splinter he can't reach. Every time he looks at Rhea, his companion, he hears it. Every time she becomes pregnant, it gets louder. The Golden Age was perfect. But inside the palace, Cronus was losing his mind. Every heartbeat of his unborn children sounded like a ticking clock counting down to his own execution. So he makes a decision. The first child is born, Hestia. Cronus takes her from Rhea's arms, opens his mouth and swallows her whole, keeps her alive inside him, conscious, trapped, breathing in darkness. A prison made of flesh, Demeter, same thing. Hera, same thing. Hades, Poseidon, 5 children. 5 times Rhea watches her newborn disappear down her husband's throat. 5 times she screams. 5 times Cronus ignores her. When the 6th pregnancy comes, something breaks in Rhea. She goes to Gaia. Gaia, who has watched all of this. Who understands, better than anyone, what it means to have your children taken from you by someone who is supposed to protect them. She has a plan. Go to Crete, she tells Rhea, who have the child there, in secret. Leave him in a cave on Mount Ida. And when Cronus comes demanding the child, wrap a stone in cloth and give him that instead. Zeus is born in a cave, in darkness, in hiding. Rhea walks back to Cronus and hands him a bundle. He takes it without looking, tilts his head back, and swallows it whole, a stone. He swallowed a stone. And Zeus grows up in Crete, fed by the nymph Amalthea, guarded by the Caretes, warriors who clash their shields together every time the child cries, so the sound of metal drowns out any noise that might reach Cronus, growing stronger every year, learning, watching, waiting. Cronus thought he had won. He had swallowed 5 potential threats and neutralized a 6th. The curse was beaten. The Golden Age continued. Everything was under control. He had no idea that the child he failed to swallow was already planning the most violent power transfer in the history of the universe. Zeus doesn't attack immediately. He's patient in a way that makes him dangerous. He waits until he's strong enough. And when the moment comes, he doesn't go to war. He goes to his father's court in disguise. Some versions say he posed as a cupbearer. Others credit Metis, a Titaness who embodied wisdom itself, with the actual plan. What matters is what ends up in Cronus's cup. A mixture. Honey and something else. Something that makes the body violently reject everything inside it. Cronus drinks it without suspicion. And then his body betrays him. He vomits with a force that shakes the ground. Out comes Poseidon first, alive, furious, 500 years of darkness behind his eyes. Then Hades, Hera, Demeter, Hestia. Each one hits the ground and immediately looks up at their father with an expression that needs no translation. The stone comes out too. It lands eventually in Delphi, where it becomes the Omphalos, the navel of the world, the physical center of everything, marked by the object Cronus mistook for his own son. 6 Olympians stand in a circle around their father. Cronus looks at them and understands for the first time that the curse wasn't a warning. It was a prophecy. Zeus steps forward. But Zeus knew something critical. Numbers, experience, age. The Titans had all of it. Zeus had his siblings and a plan. To win this war, he was going to need weapons that didn't exist yet, and allies that everyone else had forgotten about. Zeus goes down. Not to fight, not yet. He descends into the deepest parts of the earth, into the same pit where Uranus buried the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires all those ages ago, where Cronus kept them sealed because he feared them just as much as his father did. The darkness down there is not ordinary darkness. It presses against you. It has temperature. It has sound. a low, constant vibration that you feel in your bones before you hear it with your ears. And then Zeus sees them. The Cyclopes first, 3 giants whose single eyes open in the darkness like lanterns being uncovered. They have been down here longer than most of the world has existed. They remember light the way you remember a dream, partially, painfully. Then the Hecatoncheires rise, beings so physically impossible that looking directly at them causes something close to madness. A shifting mass of 100 hands, 50 weeping faces, and a strength that makes gravity itself feel weak. The ground cracks just from them standing up. The walls of the cavern bow outward. The air displacement alone is enough to knock a lesser being flat. These are not monsters. They are forces of nature that were given a shape and then buried for daring to exist. Zeus breaks their chains. The Cyclopes don't speak. They get to work immediately, as if they've been rehearsing this moment for the entire length of their imprisonment. For Zeus, they forge the thunderbolt, not lightning, a concentrated, weaponized version of it. A javelin of pure electrical force, capable of obliterating anything it touches. Gods, mountains. The concept of opposition itself. For Poseidon, the trident. 3 prongs that, when driven into the earth, split tectonic plates. When dragged through water, generate waves that swallow coastlines whole. For Hades, the helm of invisibility. Not just visual invisibility, complete undetectability. A god wearing it simply ceases to exist to any exception. 3 weapons, 3 brothers, and the Hecatoncheires, standing behind them with 100 arms each, ready. The war begins. Drop a comment. Which side would you have chosen? The Titans, who had held order for ages, or Zeus, who was burning everything down to build something new? The Titanomachy lasts 10 years. 10 years of a war that makes every human conflict in history look like an argument between children. The Titans hold Mount Tartarus. The Olympians hold Mount Olympus. And the space between them, the whole of the known world, becomes the battlefield. Atlas commands the Titan forces. He is brilliant, strategic, and utterly relentless. For years, he keeps the Olympians pinned. Zeus throws thunderbolts, and the sky cracks open. Poseidon drags his trident across the ocean floor, and tsunamis erase coastlines. The earth shakes constantly, not from earthquakes, but from the footsteps of beings that should not exist at human scale. The humans alive during this period have no framework for what they're experiencing. They see fire in the sky that doesn't go out. They feel the ground split open beneath them. They hear sounds from beyond the horizon that have no name in any language. Some of them run. Some of them try to pray to gods who are too busy trying to kill each other to listen. For years, neither side breaks. This wasn't a battle of strategies anymore. It was a meat grinder of cosmic proportions. For days at a time, the sky and the earth collapsed into each other until the horizon itself tore apart. Mountains didn't just shake, they liquefied. Seas didn't just flood, they inverted, hurling walls of water into the burning sky. The world was being unmade in real time, and no one on either side was stopping to consider what would be left when it was over. And then Zeus unleashes the Hecatoncheires, 3 of them, 100 arms each. They reach down and grab boulders, not rocks, boulders, pieces of mountain, and they throw them all at once. 300 projectiles launched simultaneously, filling the sky like a second storm. The Titans look up and see the horizon disappear behind stone. The Titan line doesn't bend, it shatters. Cronus retreats. Atlas retreats. The forces that held the old order together for ages collapse in a single engagement. The Olympians advance and don't stop. The war ends not with a negotiation or a surrender. It ends with a rout. Zeus had won, but now came the decision that would define what kind of god he was. What do you do with enemies who are essentially immortal? You can't kill them. You can't imprison them anywhere on Earth. They're powerful enough to break out. Zeus needed somewhere that didn't operate by the same rules as the rest of existence. He already knew where Tartarus, not the underworld, not Hades, where human souls drift after death. Something older than that. Deeper. The abyss that exists beneath the abyss. If you fell from the highest point in the sky, it would take 9 full days to hit the ground. And from that ground, it would take 9 more days of falling to reach the actual bottom of Tartarus. 18 days of falling through pure darkness, getting further from everything that exists, until you reached a place where light had never been and never would be. That is where Zeus sends the Titans, every single one of them. Cronus first, then his brothers, his allies, every Titan who stood against Olympus, sealed behind walls of bronze. Surrounded by 3 layers of night so thick, they function as solid barriers, guarded at the entrance by Poseidon's locked gates, and guarded by the Hecatoncheires. The same beings Cronus kept imprisoned for ages. Now they're jailers. The symmetry is not an accident. Zeus designed it that way. He wanted Cronus to know exactly who was standing at the door. Atlas gets something different, he commanded the army. He was the mind behind 10 years of resistance. Death would be too clean for him. Tartarus would be too simple. Zeus stands Atlas at the western edge of the world and places the sky on his shoulders, the entire weight of the firmament. Every star, every layer of atmosphere balanced on one Titan's back. Forever. No rotation, no relief, no end. Atlas will be standing there long after everyone watching. This is done. Zeus turns to the question, what comes next? He divides the cosmos with his brothers. Zeus takes the sky, Poseidon takes the sea, Hades takes the underworld. The earth itself belongs to no one specifically, and therefore to all of them. Olympus rises, 12 gods take their seats. Roles are assigned, domains are established, and the architecture of the universe that humans will spend the next several thousand years trying to understand snaps into place. Down below, the humans look up. The sky isn't on fire anymore. The earthquakes have stopped. The oceans have settled back into their boundaries. The sounds from beyond the horizon have gone silent. They don't know what happened. They don't know who won or who lost or what any of it means. But they feel the difference. The weight of chaos replaced by something that at least resembles order. They look at the sky, at the thunder that still rolls occasionally across it, and they understand instinctively that something up there is watching. They begin to pray. But Zeus's victory, as absolute as it seemed, was not the end. The Titans were locked away. But there were older things than Titans, deeper things. Things that Tartarus itself couldn't fully contain, and they were already stirring. That story is next. You just watched the universe get built. Not the peaceful, ordered creation you might have heard about. A violent one, forged through betrayal, imprisonment, 10 years of war, and a punishment designed to last forever. This is the foundation everything else in Greek mythology sits on. The Odyssey, the Trojan War, Hercules, Medusa. None of it makes sense without this. The next episode is coming. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If this was worth your time, the like tells the algorithm to show it to more people. And leave a comment. Which Titan deserved a different fate?